It's time for our Express Bet segment, presented by Express Bet and John Pricci, our racing analyst on WNYT and News Channel 13, and of course right here on 104.5 The Team, ESPN Radio. You can listen to John every day except the dark day on Tuesday, so a day off, and it's back with the Express Bet report with John Pricci. Good morning, John.
Good morning, Rodger. How are you? Good morning, Chris.
Morning, Johnny.
Everything is phenomenal. The sun is shining. We're actually in Cooperstown at the Baseball Hall of Fame. Racing resumes today. It's going to be the first full week of racing of the 40-day meet in Saratoga. John, I got to start with the Monday because you weren't on Tuesday and reacting to the 115. You've been covering the game for a long time, 40 years and beyond. 115 to 1 shot hits the board first. And for a $2 bet, the return was $232.50. Have you ever heard of such a thing?
Well, yes, I have. Like you say, I've been covering the game for 40 years, so a lot of that stuff has happened already. My only regret is that, it wasn't a bankroll play. That's my only problem with it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and Dwayne Lucas, the trainer, I mean, that kind of shocked everybody on Monday at 115 to 1 odds. That was wild, and I think that might have been one of that might go into the history books at Saratoga Racecourse.
I'll have to look that up, Rodger, but you may be right about that. I'm not quite sure if it's in the upset category over Man of War, but it certainly is interesting. But, you mentioned this the start of the first full week. I don't know if you realize it, but you know what this week is? This is Travers Prep Week. Now, I'm not trying to rush the meeting along. I won't be there until the Whitney, which is next weekend. But we've got 3 races this week. We've got 2 of them at Saratoga and 1 at the shore at Monmouth Park. And all those roads are going to lead to the Travers. On Friday, we're going to have the curling, which is a sort of a Chad versus Todd preview, because they're going to go at each other on Saturday, of course, with the Derby winner Always Dreaming and the Preakness winner Cloud Computing. But on Friday, in a little race called the Curling Stakes, Todd's going to saddle Outplay, and Chad's got You're to Blame. They're the 2 likely favorites in there. We'll talk about that when the bankroll play comes up on Friday. And Sunday's Haskell, what a beauty, man. Irish War Cry, second in the Belmont Stakes comes back. McCracken looking for that first Grade 1 victory. And Gervin, who's been among the elite 3-year-olds all year. So you've got 7 horses right there that could come back on August 26th. So I'm a little bit pumped.
John Pricci with us with his Express Bet report here on 104.5 The Team, ESPN Radio. John, how competitive do you think the Jim Dandy will be on Saturday?
Well, I've been thinking about this for 2 days. Now, it's a race worth winning, okay? It's quote-unquote only a Grade 2. But what is the pot, 500 or 600,000? And it's Todd versus Chad. They want to beat each other, but you also know they need to leave something in the tank for 4 weeks hence. So it's really going to be interesting as to what happens there. And who knows? It might be somebody else coming in whereby the Jim Dandy is their Travers, and they're going to go all out, and it could be a total upset. But when you got the Derby winner versus the Preakness winner in a prep race, it hardly gets better than that, Raj.
John, we're so used to at least seeing the Travers field, if not always the winner, made up of a horse that ran in either the Dandy or the Haskell. What do you make of the approach this year, though, of some high-profile horses and trainers saying, we're not going to run in either. We are simply going to train up to the Travers and hope that the long layoff means a really fresh horse ready to go for the Midsummer Derby?
Well, it certainly worked for Cloud Computing at the Preakness, didn't it? And Taprit, of course, was given the 5 weeks. He was in the Derby. He skipped the Preakness, came back, and, of course, won the Belmont. Chris, it doesn't surprise me because, number one, if you're going to go against, if you have a horse that is not yet an elite 3-year-old, if you're going to go up against the heavy heads, go up against them when it counts. Go up against them when it's a 7-figure pot. Go up against them when it's a historical event, a Grade 1 race. And that is the trend anyway. I mean, trainers want to run fresh horses today. And as we can see, there are a lot of tremendous trainers that can get horses to come and fire their A-plus race off 5 weeks, off 8 weeks, off a 10-week layoff. You see it all the time. I think it'd be very tough when you talk about something like the Travers, because even when it gets into the Haskell Jim Dandy debate, I'm more of a Jim Dandy guy because being old school as I am, I prefer the race over the track rather than, the big pot and the glory that happens on Sunday. I'd rather race on Saturday. But it was a good observation you made, Chris. Guys want to bring in horses fresh, and they want to go for all the marbles when it counts.
It's John Pricci's Express Bet Report every day except for Tuesday here on 104.5 The Team, ESPN Radio. Get the mythical $100 bankroll. And let's face it, John, your best bets. You've been on a roll. So what do you have for us for today's card in Saratoga?
Well, yeah, thank you, Graham Motion and Joel Rosario, and a filly named Ella, who got the bankroll off the duck on Monday. As a consequence, we've got we're plus $111.50, so it's going to be a free rattle today. But before we get to that, I have to mention that the bankroll play today and every day is brought to you by ExpressBet. Whether you play at home or at the track, ExpressBet.com is the most convenient way to bet Saratoga. All right, let's get to the feature. It's the Grade 2 Honorable Miss. These are older fillies and mares. They're sprinting 6 furlongs. Roger, we've only got a field of 5 here, but this is a real competitive race. It's an interesting race, and I think there's value available here, only if I'm right, of course. Paula's Silver Lining deserves to be the 6-5 overnight favorite. Her last 2 races, she is a dual Grade 1 winner this year. Since getting into the barn of who else? Chad Brown. He's raised her level, and she's back here for another try in the Honorable Miss. But we like a filly who's coming to us by way of Churchill Downs. Her name is Finley's Lucky Charm, and there's several reasons for that. Number one, today's race, as we mentioned, is at 6 furlongs. Well, how about the fact that she's 5 for 5 at the trip? So this is obviously her specialty. And she's been running at Churchill against lesser. But this is obviously something that Brett Calhoun, one of the perennial leading trainers in the Midwest, and is coming in here with the filly today. This obviously was on her dance card. This is what he's been pointing for. So you've got that. She's 3 for 3 this year, and I think that's also a product of her 4-year-old maturity. She has shown that she has continued to develop from the end of her 3-year-old season when she started to blossom, and now she's in full bloom. Her figures are ascending. She's the possible controlling speed. She's got an outside draw, post 5, and she may be, as we said, lone speed. Brian Hernandez, who's been aboard her 6 out of the last 7 victories, is up again today. So here's how we're going to spend our $100, Rod. We're going to bet Finley's Lucky Charm. $40 to win and $40 to place. That takes up 80 of the 100. And then we're going to make an exacta box, Finley's Lucky Charm and Paula's Silver Landing. That'll cost you 20, 80, and 20 of the 100. And that's my trick.
I love it. All presented and sponsored by ExpressBet. You can hear John Pricci's report every day outside of the dark day on Tuesday right here on 104.5 The Team, ESPN Radio. John, great work so far, man. Stay red hot. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Have a great day, guys.